Recording in progress.
Hey, good afternoon. I can't believe there's only 2 more meetings to go. Yeah, this is week 10, one more in week 11, and then, well, week 12 is optional. But I hope we have a meeting in week 12 also, right? Especially for, those of you who want to do those tech reports that I talked about. Like Riley wanted to do the AVL versus Splay empirical comparison, and I think Walter wanted to do the hash, chain linked hash tables versus linear, one of these two kinds of probing. Very, very good reports. I mean, because you read about these, but it is actually surprisingly hard to come across technical publications explicitly talking about these empirical results. You do a Google search if you like, okay? Because there are so many of these things that are not immediately obvious, but a lot of advanced CS people, right? So once you get past CS2C, right? That's why this is the right time for it to be publishing these things, because once you get past CS2C and you've been marinating in computer science for a couple of years, this kind of thing, you won't even think about publishing, right? Because and I think this is my hypothesis, okay? I think because most of the publications these days, the ones that are extant out there, and you can Google and find out, right? These are all done by people who are trained to publish things, right? So they are, papers or tech reports written by people who already know, right? Who've gone through graduate school and they know how to do these things. And so you never actually see these reports on empirical things that would cement fundamental knowledge, because they just take these things for granted, right? Is if you go to a really senior computer science person at a powerful software house like Microsoft or Google or some place like that and say, yeah, which one is better, AVL or Splay? Yeah, they'll just say, okay, well, in this situation, use a Splay tree, right? They're not going to explain it to you, right? They say, yeah, obviously, right? And they say it's obvious to them, but it's not obvious to CS2A students or beginning computer science students, which they themselves were at some point, whether they were, a school kid at some point or they were in college, but they were a beginning computer science student at one point, and they did think about these things. And so, but they never were trained at that time to share their empirical findings. So that's why I think these reports that you right now will actually be hugely useful to the computer science community, right? Because now someone who's starting out learning computer science algorithms doesn't have to resort to the word of mouth of experienced people that say this is why it's good, and they wouldn't have to look at unreliable publications. They can actually look at some real empirical experiments done by people who are actually navigating the path during the time they're navigating the path, before they find out they don't have time for this kind of thing. So I think it'll be hugely useful, and in fact greatly shared, at least amongst my students and my sections. Okay, so because once you guys publish a report like this on Stack Overflow or something like that, I can actually tell my next CS2C student section of students, right? So here's the reason why you should do this and not that, and check it out, right? And well, actually, technically speaking, I shouldn't tell them that, because ideally for me, it'll be better if they also do something like this, without having read your paper. But it'll be fun for them after having done that to see, hey, you know what, these people before did this too, and it's really cool. And I think that's where the most of the fun in computer science comes in. Okay, so anyway, I'm very glad to see you all progressing. You're all actually very close and neck to neck. And thank you, Sung, for and for your valiant struggles with displaying and finally posting these little very insightful meta. I think these are meta question posts, okay? And I think these meta question posts are as important as question posts, because questioning is basically talking about a problem and its solution, but a meta question post talks about, it's not the problem or the solution, but it is what led me to solve the problem. Okay, it's something about questing, not about the quest itself. And I think these are very useful posts that will have benefit future questers. So very nice, and nice for Arman to pick up on that too. So I greatly appreciated seeing those posts, which I think is a real experience, because everybody I know, including myself, has gone through exactly the same experience, right? So we can relate to it. And I think that's what makes it more personal and appealing and interesting also. So rather than saying, I know some of you are really busy, and basically just having time to post an update, like Dean, for example, right? I got to tell him, right? Dean, I know he basically just goes through these quests, and he solves them, and he and posts, I've done this, and moving on. Okay, good. And I know it's a real effort by him to carry through the quests, but I would still appreciate something like Sung or Riley or Wallstrom, or Walter, whose posts also show that, yeah, I've done this, but if you're struggling, you can take a look at some of these techniques, and they help me, right? Because they are bound to be helpful for others. So while update posts are good and they get you some of the points, but helpful posts get you to the top of the participation, and saying, well, these are some of the problems that I face. Maybe these problems are not big for you, and it's easy for you, but these were real problems for me, and I overcame them, right? It doesn't matter how small the problems are. What matters is whether you overcame them or not. And so I think that is what helps other people, other students, and I'm very grateful for all of you who are doing this. And thank you, Walter, for the very nice post about insertion sort, and then the fine point between insertion sort and shell sort. But if you think about it, right? If you think about it, shell sort is actually no different from insertion sort, right? Because you're doing exactly the same thing, except you're saying that, well, I'm not going to compare these guys. I'm going to compare those guys. Yes, you're just basically skipping out, all right? And that small change gives you such a great win, isn't it? It's so incredible, isn't it? Right? And that is where real computer science is. Okay, real computer science is not about figuring out clever ways of doing things. It is about figuring out clever ways of not doing things. Okay, that is where real computer science is. And I know that this time of year, or the quarter, I do get lots of emails from students in 2B and 2C. Okay, with 2A, I'm more likely to cooperate with them and cut them some slack and so on. But in 2B and 2C, and I think I told you before, right? 2B even, right? It is possible to ace through what was it that John said? I forget his name. I forget the term he used. It's a blind questing, brute questing, something about blind coding, or brute force coding, or something. He said something like, he can't.
Beast mode code.
Beast mode code. Yeah. Thank you. Who said that? I assume.
Me, yeah.
Riley, thank you. Yeah. Beast mode code. Yeah, he said that. That is so true, because as a programmer, you will know there are certain things you can attack by beast mode coding, right? And certain things you cannot attack by beast mode coding. Okay, and the mark of and I think there's a transition point when most programmers can actually recognize in their own lives, okay, in their own career as a programmer, they can recognize the point, right? It's like that. Inflection point when they can all of a sudden recognize. Okay, until then they couldn't recognize which required beast mode and which required non-beast mode coding, right? At some point, this basically overnight, maybe you sleep over it and the next day you recognize that, and it happens. And when it happens, it's very important to remember that. Okay, you'll all of a sudden realize, wow, okay, there is this whole class of problems that can be solved by beast mode coding. But this class of problems I can't solve by beast mode coding, right? If I'm hitting a wall, the only thing I can do is basically take a break, right? Like Sung said, and come back. That is the only way I can solve these problems. And that awakening, as it were, has to happen. And so beast mode coding, 2B, I think you can get through 2B with beast mode coding. 2C, it's not possible, okay? And I think that is I think it's also set up nicely because especially in the Bay Area, I think it's a Bay Area toxic culture. And I've said this before, a lot of school kids, okay? A lot of school kids tend to overload themselves with so many units, okay, so many units, and to the point where I can't help them anymore because I've never taken on an epic effort like them. I've never done so much work like them. So if they ask me how can I get how can I get through 2C having so much work additional to what 2C requires, I say, oh, I don't know how I can do it, man. I'm sorry, I can help you if I can, but I don't know how to help you, right? So, and I also don't understand the purpose in the first place, why people need to take on so much work, okay? Because I can tell you from my perspective, right? As someone who's actually, been through these things, and actually at this point in life, I've done every single thing I've ever dreamed of doing, okay? I don't want to do anymore. So at this point, I don't need to do any more things, and I never ever had to do, I never ever had to work one day in my life as hard as some of you are working. Okay, and I don't know the purpose of that much hard work if it is not going to get you to the place where you don't need anything more. So I think some of you are probably just overworking yourself for no reason, and people who are pushing you to overwork, they have no crazy fucking idea what they're telling you to do, because chances are they haven't found what they're looking for in life, and they're just pushing you to find find it for them. So you should resist urges by society and other people to just say do more than what you can to get to where I think you need to be, right? So instead, I think people should just slow down and take things one breath at a time, which basically allows you to enjoy every step you take. And that is the way to get the most out of life, right? Not to be screaming ahead. The race does not have an end. You keep screaming, you're going to be screaming all your life. So and I think 2C is a very good good course in my opinion, because it basically slams a brake on people who are just racing forward without knowing what they're racing forward for, right? Saying slow down, right? Understand the material first, okay, and then you'll know. Then you'll see what the beautiful path in front of you, so you can enjoy these things. Okay, so then thank you all so much. Again, I'm so sorry. Okay, I don't mean to start off with these spiels, really, but I want you guys to start discussing things as much as possible, as early as possible. So I'm happy to answer any questions you have before I turn it over to you. I'm actually seeing a very good level of activity amongst the people that have survived and gotten to the point, right? People who haven't need to put in a bit more effort, really, or talk to counselors and talk to us so we can find you, get you help. And those of you who are watching the video, for example, right, talk to us and we can say, talk to our counselors. They can try to juggle things around in your life so that you can find more time to, because at the end of the day, I think you will all agree, right? Because people also email me and saying, I have spent, not just one person, right? Many people email me, and not just in 2C, 2A, 2B, 2C, or 1A, any course I have taught in the past. I typically get emails in week 10, week 11, and week 12 from students who say, hey, professor, I've put in a great deal, a horrendous amount of work, right? Like 25, 30 hours a week on this class, and I'm not getting anywhere. Can I get a pass? Can I do this? And can I, can I get a good grade? Can I get an A even sometimes, right? And how can I help them? Because if I help them, I'm basically slacking off in my duty and taking my easy way out, saying, well, you know what, you want an A, I'll give you an A. But at the end of the day, the government does not want you to grade you on effort, right? Because effort is, if I take a kindergartner and put him in 2C, and he or she will, spend 24 hours a day trying to master 2C and still not be able to pass it. Should I give them a pass, right? So I think it is a matter of, if people are finding it really hard, I think it should be a good source of reflection for them to calibrate themselves and say, well, this is what I'm capable of doing and still being happy in my life. So that's what I should do. I shouldn't stretch myself, a rubber band, right, beyond my stretching point. So I'll snap. So I think this should be a wake-up call to people, and also to instructors, not to just bend and bow forward and just say, I'll just be a good guy and give you A's, right? So because people never get complained on for being good guys, right? And I know this, right? Because in a lot of courses, when students petition their instructors saying, oh, I had a hard time, I had this and that happen to me, I need a good grade, and the instructor will basically say, well, I'll give you an A this time because I know you're a good student. But that's not the right thing to do. What they should do is, okay, take some time and come back, and then I'll give you a separate test, or I'll, or prove your knowledge to me and I'll get you, right? Because at the end of the day, people are not graded for the amount of effort. The government wants us to tell the public, these people are actually know what they profess to know, right? And no, none of you would consider paying to a neurosurgeon, right? Who to cut your head open and operate on you just because they got a grace pass from from their medical school, right? You want them to know their stuff before they pick up the scalpel, right? And computer science is no different, because right now every one of you with the skills you're learning here, you are able to actually think about it, right? You are able to operate on human people's brains without cutting their heads. Is that right or not? Okay, because with the right kind of thinking and the right kind of programming, you can target messages that go right into the specific neurons without having to cut into their brain and wire them up, which we don't even know how to do right now, right? So you can mathematically formulate different models that give you extremely high success rates of reaching very specific people in very specific demographics, right? Looking for very specific things. And so, that is like a neurosurgeon and an advanced neurosurgeon, for example, right? So we can't let you go out there saying, well, I got to pass just because so-and-so, right? So and this is a professional course, I think, right? So I think I'm very pleased with all of you guys, okay, who have turned up, and some of you who are actually diligently watching the videos and making every effort to master, right? It shouldn't just be passing. It's mastering these things, like Mitchell, right? So, and he's posting notes on additional research that he's found on interesting things that would help us. Okay, I actually really enjoyed watching his sorting video with all pitches and changing pitches and all. It was really fun. Okay, so that kind of thing, it's really fun, and it also makes it fun for other students. So thank you all so much, right? Okay, so again, I told you I wasn't going to spiel, and I took the other opportunity. I'm sorry. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'll just turn it over to you. Just have a free form conversation until you are ready to go, and then that's that. And by the way, it shouldn't just be to help each other, okay? Because just be mindful that there are other students like Dean and Mitchell and Jason. They're trying to do different things. Without giving the solution away, you should also feel free to touch upon some of the problems they're having and saying, well, maybe this is something they could try, okay, and things like that. I think they would also benefit, because I think they're watching, right? Maybe Jason can't make it to every meeting, obviously, because he's in a class, like he said. But obviously he is watching the videos, so he may be able to benefit from this. So yeah, please assume that you're not just talking to yourselves, but also to the students, right? So you can feel free to refer to their posts and say, hey, Dean, hey, Mitchell, and so on, Arman, and so on and so forth. Is that okay with you guys? Great. Thank you all so much. So do you have any questions for me? Because I think you're coming up to the graph quest very soon, okay? Because 8 is easier, okay? 8 is probably easier than many quests. Graphs will take a week and a half, if I'm not mistaken. So, and it's a fun quest, okay? Once you finish graphs, you're like totally set, okay? If you've aced all the quests, you're totally set, I think, to just go on a leak code and basically crush most of the tough problems. Yeah, any questions? Do you have any questions? You guys want to chat? You want to chat? Okay. Yeah. All right, great. So thank you all so much for this opportunity. I'm just, I'm very happy every Monday to start my week off, just looking at you guys, okay? The regulars here who are here, who are committed, who are interested in the subject. It actually makes my day. So thank you all so much for this opportunity, and also for turning up and, participating in class. So feel free to talk and leave messages for your friends who are not able to make it to today's class. Okay, I'm going to turn it around. I'll be out there, so maybe making coffee or something, so you can call out to me as usual. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't have too much. I just got the password to Quest 8 last night. So my first Quest freeze that I missed for Quest 7, but it was a busy week last week. I don't know if you guys have anything.
Yeah, I've been pretty behind. So like I just got started on Quest 6. So yeah, I need to do some catching up to do. I have some catching up to do.
I was grateful enough to have a very open schedule last week, so I'm working on Quest 8 right now. It was a bit of a difficult one at first, but I think it's one of those where once you sort of learn the data structure and the rules to sort of make sense, you can start visualizing how you move about. So I don't think Quest 8 is one to be super worried about. It seems pretty reasonable. I was also trying to look for some problems on Reddit that maybe we can help with. The first one I see is Jason, who posted a question about Splay Find. And I think he's asking about throwing errors. Let's see. Uh,
Hey, are you guys done?
yeah, I was trying to see if I could help Jason with his
Oh,
post,
no
but
worries, no worries. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Go
seems a
ahead.
bit difficult. I would just, if you're watching, Jason, I would just check your not found exception function, make sure that's throwing it correctly, because it does look correct what you're talking about.
Yeah, I actually had the same problem, but I felt like I think it's the new keyword that he used because when I was doing like when I did the same thing as he did, the throw a new not found exception, there would be something wrong. I'm not like entirely sure. I think maybe you wouldn't need. I think the new keyword is only necessary for pointers when you're like needing to like reserve memory for that pointer, but not found exception is not a pointer. It's just yeah. So I would
Yeah, I agree. Now that you say that, I think you're right. I think that could be the problem. Professor? Hello?
You done? You got Walter, did you call me?
Yeah, I actually have a question.
Oh, yeah, yeah, sure, sure. Hang on just a sec. Okay. What's up? What's up?
I was looking, I remember you were talking about the timings for the shark quest. I was wondering if there is any possibility for some credit on those. I know you're talking about the idea of a competition, so like we did last time.
Yeah, why not? Okay. But it won't be as much as for the cormorant because cormorant is, I think, harder to pass. But how about for the first three places? Well, yeah, 25K. It's exactly the same size vector for all of you guys, I think. Yeah. So how about for the top three timings for what should it be? For sort, okay, for sort, okay, because for sort, you'll actually notice for the sort, your sorting algorithm is faster than the standard library sort. Yes, it's very cool, isn't it? So, so that will give you many hours of pondering to see why is my algorithm faster than the standard library sort. So I think that'll be very juicy for you to think about. But certainly, let's do the timing and post your someone start a thread and post it. And let's say for the first 3 timings, top 3 timings, ranked by the millisecond count or microsecond, whatever that thing is. Let's say 3, 2, and 1 extra credit points. How about that for the 3, 2, and 1 points for 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's good idea, Walter. Thank you.
I was also curious, when the timings come out, it says my timings library and your timings. What do the my timings represent? Is that you? Is that
yeah my reference code?
Okay.
Yeah, mine is from the reference code, and then the library, which I will use when available, right? So I only have to sort for the library, but essentially, I don't know why they don't have a median for the library. So
yeah,
but sort is good enough.
Interestingly enough, the timings I got compared to the timings the reference, both my parts and median were a good amount slower, but my sort was a little bit faster. I'm not sure how that works out.
Yeah, interesting. It is certainly a very good point, Walter, right? And certainly interesting and worthy of diving more, deeper into. What I would do is set up your own experiment. And because now you don't need my code or the library code to see what the discrepancy is in your, and say, why is my sort not as fast? One of those things, right? Well, why is my sort slower than the partitioning and things or something like that? You can actually test it out and post some findings if you, because maybe there's one statement in your Q sort, because your Q sort should only be 3 lines. And maybe there's one extra comparison in the sorting, right? Crazy things like this throw things off, especially when you're going from 25K to, something like that. So very interesting observation. Good on you for bringing that up. And these are all the juicy kinds of discussions that computer scientists typically tend to look for. And when you look for Stack, when you go and browse things like Reddit and Stack Overflow, many of these posts you'll see are solutions to questions or problems that people are facing. But occasionally, you'll actually see a nugget in there, which is not really a solution, but a question like you asked, right? Which sheds some additional light that is very interesting on the whole thing. And so those are the kinds of things that CS people actually like reading. So yeah, thanks. I think. Well, I shouldn't speak for all CS people. Sorry, right? I like seeing questions like this. Anything else? It's a half hour. It doesn't have to go for a whole hour, right? So you can just say, you guys are done, or you just want to hang around and chat. That's okay, fine, okay with me. Or even if you want to share a screen and one of you starts coding some random stuff, okay, that's also fine. If you got some, half-finished project which is not related to Quest, and you just want other people's help to take a look at it and review it and give you some ideas, or or hack together, you can use this opportunity too. So maybe you don't have one right now today, but you got 2 more meetings. You can think about it certainly. Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, and just remember that I'm just a call away, an email away. If you have like 5 people like you, 4 right now, it's okay. And you just want a special class or a Zoom session like this, and it doesn't have to be like 2 hours. It could be half an hour like this too, right? Let me know, right? And most of the time when students ask me for a Zoom one-on-one, I usually ask them, right, what do you want to talk about, and what, you know, because 99% of the time, these are issues that can just be resolved by email. So I reserve the Zooms for really important things. But with you guys, if you want to just talk about a technical matter, or even code with just me watching, and so that, you know, if you get stuck, I can just shed an additional perspective on what you're looking at, you know, like we do in coding in my CS2A class. I'm happy. You don't have to give me any reason, okay? But it's got to be amongst you guys who have shown some real, you know, initiative and commitment to computer science. So if you guys want a Zoom session, you don't have to give me any reason, okay? You can say, the 5 of us or 4 of us are working on something. Would you mind giving us a Zoom session, right? And that's all you need to say. Just give us a Zoom session for 30 minutes, 1 hour, and it's yours, okay? Unless I'm doing something like super duper critical at that time, I'm happy to give you that Zoom call. So I have time for those things, okay? So you don't have to go through the normal process of clearing these things by email. Anything else that you want, right? So otherwise, you just feel free to take off. And I'll, you know, Riley is. Did I hear you right? You're done with 7 and you're going to 8 now, right? Right?
Yeah, I finished 7 last night, and now
Yeah.
I'm just getting started on 8.
Great, great. Okay. We'll, you know, those scores will be imported for sure, I think, right? So I'm pretty sure that you'll all be done with Quest 9 by the end of the quarter. So yeah, thank you. Anything else? All right. Yeah, keep the discussions going. Okay. I actually look forward to reading all your posts, and they're very nice. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.